Greetings Boffins and welcome to the Boffin Lab. I'm Old Man Triton and this is a nano guide on how to do hauling contracts in Star Citizen. Hauling contracts has been one of the big new things in patch 3.24.1 and unfortunately there are still bugs with the system. But some people are failing these contracts because they believe it's a bug and not because they're trying to fix it. There's a few workarounds that you can use in order to continue with your contract and avoid losing the reputation and still get the money as well. It's just a matter of persistence sometimes, and it's also a pretty standard IT solution. Turn it off and turn it on again. Do that with the place that you're actually delivering the contract and you'll sometimes get to fix the problem. Now I'm going to go through a few options for everybody who is going to do these, but in order to try as many contracts as possible, I did this all in a C2 Hercules with a Argo Atlas to assist me. However, I did also do this with a MaxLIft cargo tractor beam so that I could test the low end of the scale for the contracts. One thing I will say right here and now is that at the time of this recording it was Pirate Week and I have deliberately avoided the stations in orbit around the planets like Port Tresla, Everest Harbour and so on. The reason for this is at any one time I don't know whether they're being blockaded. While they tend to be the most common places to pick up and drop off goods, they also tend to be randomly dangerous. There's been a lot of flack about the poor design of the contract issuing system and the fact that you can't filter by destination or anything, but there is one little feature that I should point out. See the little blue dots in the top right corner of each contract? That means you haven't looked at that contract yet, which means that you can swing through the whole list and see which contracts you haven't gone to. It's a good idea to pick contracts going to or from places that are already on your list of places to visit, and choosing the right destinations is crucial. Making the one run pay as much money as you can is the aim of the game. But there is a trick. If you've got two cargoes going to two different locations but are the same thing, you've got to keep them separate, because the object that goes to one destination has been marked for that destination and cannot be put in the other destination even though it's the same material. This is a problem that I'll show down the line, but we will show you the error that comes up when you do it wrong and make sure that you know how to fix it. The next hint I will give you is to be very careful what you deliver to the cargo hangar. I have a stack of drink bottles in the bottom of my inventory there, and I have accidentally delivered it to the freight elevator. What happens is it gets split up into individual pieces and is spread all over the freight elevator, and that is not very good because they tend to roll around and get stuck. So make sure you select only the things that you want in the freight elevator. The next thing I recommend to everybody is they get their hands on a MaxLIft tractor beam shown on screen. These are your easy tool for getting out of trouble. Now you can use the standard multi-tool tractor beam, but the reason I recommend this is it's got a much greater range. Not its lifting capacity, that's not really an issue for most contracts. Its range is significantly greater, probably 3 times to 4 times the range of the multi-tool. This will let you unload from the deck of your ship straight into or out of the cargo elevator. Now, the last thing I want to highlight is how terrible my parking is. Look where my ship is. It's miles away from the cargo bay or the freight elevator. I'm going to take an extra 10 minutes to load this small amount of cargo because I parked in such a terrible location. Learn from my screw up and make your operation more efficient. There are two things you're looking for when you're searching through contracts. That is your pickup location and your destination, and you're trying to match a bunch of contracts to those two things. Try a circuit, maybe 3 or 4 stops. But remember, you've probably got a limited amount of time to complete that work, so you don't want to take too many contracts in case you've got to walk away. If you've got to walk away, you fail the contracts and you lose the rep. But try to choose a start point, work from there to the next spot, then to the next spot, and so on. I highly recommend that you sort out your cargo based on destination and try and deliver it to the cargo elevator based on contract. That way you've got the right goods in the right place and sorted into the right pile. Now, one of the reasons I used the C2 Hercules was so that I could sort things into piles. One thing that is very important is to know the cargo capacity of your ship. If you're using an Aurora, which has 3 SEU cargo capacity, you couldn't do a contract that takes 4 SEU cargo capacity because the boxes would be delivered in 4 box format and would not fit to your cargo grid. You could do contracts that were 3 or less because they would fit to your cargo grid, but if you have to deliver a 4 SEU box, they won't stack on the cargo grid. One of the first bugs, quotes marks, that people will encounter is when they come to one of these distribution centers and try and land in the hangar bay. You cannot get landing permission to land in those giant hangars here except at select distribution centers such as the Secura Sun distribution centers. This one is inactive. However, on the side of these distribution centers there are 4 landing pads. I'm pretty sure it's the same on the other facilities. These landing pads all have cargo decks and cargo elevators. Now, these places can sometimes be active combat zones, so it's sometimes a good idea to bring a weapon along and a little bit of armor. But as you can see, there is a cargo elevator. There is also guards. Be very careful not to shoot the local guards or you'll aggravate everybody in the place. The cargo elevator usually works. In this case, it's just taking the time to load my other contracts. The most annoying bug that people have been encountering with the calling contracts has been around the cargo elevators. Now, there's several different permutations of this bug, and the first and most common one is the foreign object in the cargo elevator. Essentially, if there is even a single med pen or an empty bottle on the cargo elevator when you try to set it down, it will not work. It will tell you that it's there and you'll have to go looking for it, but you have to clear it. So if you arrive at a destination and find somebody's abandoned their cargo in the cargo elevator, you have to clear it out in order to use it yourself. This leaves you with a time overhead. I would ask people, please be considerate. If you can't deliver a cargo, please remove it. However, I'm about to explain a way of fixing it. One of the common bugs that also occurs is that when you try to send the elevator down, it tells you that it's transferring, but it sits there and spins around indefinitely, unable to move. And the third version is the transferring error, which comes up. Now, I've solved the transferring error that comes up by simply backing out of the terminal, walking away from it and coming back to it. But the spinning loading screen can be fixed by removing all the cargo from the cargo elevator and putting it back on your ship. I think it's best to bring it with you, just in case. Then you leave the vicinity of the cargo elevator. It's best to do this with all pilots that are in the area. Leave the vicinity, warp to an OM, and come back. Then you do what I do as a regular test every time we do one of these, is that I go over to the cargo elevator and try and send it down with a completely empty cargo elevator. If that works, bring it back up, load a few items of cargo into the elevator, and then send it down again. If that works, you should be safe to unload your cargo. The last problem is basically a replication of the foreign object, but it's got to do with the contracts that have been given to you. If you have a load of stims that are supposed to go to one destination and a load of stims that are supposed to go to another destination, the stim boxes from one destination cannot be used as substitutes in the other destination. And it will tell you that there is a foreign object box stims on the radar and you can't take the elevator down. This leaves you shuffling through all of your boxes of stims to find the right one, loading them in one at a time, sending the elevator down and seeing if it will accept them. This is why I recommend everybody tries to separate their contracts into their destinations and be very careful about it. Since I worked out these tricks, I have not failed to deliver a single cargo, so they do work. The reason why I think the fly away and come back method actually works is because I believe that these locations go into a dormant state when there are no players at it. This kind of etch-a-sketches the whole processes at the locations and the cargo elevators reset. Hopefully that gets rid of the bugs that you're experiencing. With any sort of luck, we should be able to see CIG fix the bugs in the first place and you won't have to use these tricks. But there's no reason for you to fail a cargo run at this point in time unless something extreme has happened. Share any tips you have on fixing these bugs down in the comments below. If you like Galactic Tetris, then you'll find hauling missions to be a relaxing and chill way to spend an evening. However, that's the end of my tutorial for today. Thank you, please like and subscribe, good hunting, and have fun in space.